like we normally do. All right, thank you. Okay, yeah, and you know, like some people are concerned because we have so much traffic going through here, but I think if we're all really close and we help each other out, it won't be that much of a problem. So I think everyone can hear me, right? All right. So we're gonna go down the agreements. We are non-violent.
We are non-violent.
We pick up after ourselves.
We pick up after ourselves.
We respect this land.
We respect this land.
We keep track of personal belongings.
We keep track of personal belongings.
We are mindful of our public image.
We are mindful of our public image.
We are positive and proactive.
We are positive and proactive.
No alcohol, smoking, or illegal substances on our camp.
No alcohol, smoking, or illegal substances
on our camp.
We do not accept monetary donations.
We do not accept monetary donations.
We are the 99%.
We are the 99%.
All right, cool. First off, talking a bit about our consensus process before we get started. Please pay attention to this board right here. These are some guidelines someone threw up, and I like them. But really quickly, when we're in discussion, remember, twinkling, I guess they're calling it. This is just showing general agreement. Okay. If you disagree with something, first off, just voice your concerns. If you have something to say, we'll put you on the stack. If we come to an actual process of consensus, I wanted to kind of talk about the three sorts of stand-asides that go around in that brochure there. You're assumed to be in agreement unless you stand aside or block. If you stand aside, there's three kind of stand-asides you can have, all right? If you're standing aside, you can stand aside and believe like, it's not the best thing, but I'm gonna go along with it. Or, it's not the best thing, I'm not gonna personally take part in it. Or finally, it's not the best thing, but I'll totally jump on board or support it if you change this one idea. And that gives you a lot of option before you go to a block. A block, remember, anyone can do, but that will fundamentally halt our ability to go further, okay? And what that says is if you guys go for this, I'm out, I want nothing to do with it, it does not represent my beliefs or my interests, okay? So please be aware, there should not be many blocks unless we're throwing really horribly crazy out there ideas out there, okay? So those three stand-asides give you a lot of power and a lot of options, especially that third one, the we can change this and then I'll go along with it. That'll really guide discussion. And if someone's going off topic, or you know, the statement to get back onto topic, okay? Also, just kind of be comfortable with your neighbors. If we're going over a minute, you know, we're gonna try to keep people on track, and I'm gonna do my best, but if you help me, that'll be great. All right, starting off with, are there any committees or affinity groups who have announcements that would like to present to the group?
So yesterday we created a group for talking about education issues, and we have some language that we created that I'd just like to announce, and we can discuss later. Sorry. So here's the language that we kind of came up with, and then it's not accepted by the General Assembly or anything, it's just what we came up with. It's basically this. Education is a human right. Student loans as they are currently constructed, with students being unable to even declare bankruptcy when faced by extreme hardship, turn education into a game of financial Russian roulette. Students become entrapped when they are most naive about money in a system which makes it difficult to invest in a home, build a family, and achieve the American dream. So that's the language that we came up with in our committee, and we can revisit whether or not the General Assembly likes that later, but it's announced.
All right, that's an announcement, and that can become a proposal later. Are there any other announcements? Yeah, you had yours.
Yeah, yesterday I was contacted by a teacher from high school on the west side who wants to bring 30 students here the week after next, sometime in the morning. So if there's anyone who's interested in helping organize that with me, get in contact with me. So we have some time. He just wanted to bring them here, have them get a feel for the movement. Maybe like have like a number of folks here that morning to talk about the movement and its history. and what it means. We don't have a date for sure yet, but the week after next.
Right?
High school.
Yeah, she's out there.
Summer.
Oh, okay, and then next, we're moving. Any other questions before we move on to the next announcement? You have a question?
Yeah. If I can get up. So basically, what's really happening and what we're really talking about is what is really the announcement of what we're really talking about, because we're trying to focus on a certain issue and the issue is not really being recognized. Come on, people, let's move it.
Awesome. Okay. We're all in agreement on that. And next announcement.
Following up on that, we have some actions coming up. So Friday, if you want to move it, go to Broadway and Cesar Chavez from 4 to 6. We're going to be handing out flyers to people. This is our first action in that part of town. So let's go out there and kind of share some information for people through these awesome flyers that are in English and Spanish. Also, Friday night, there's a pajama party here.
Sweet!
You want to talk about this? Yeah.
I just put that up for social. I can't remember.
Anyway, so we're trying to get people out here. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have music, art, anything else you want to bring. It's going to be a great time. We're going to stay here all night on the sidewalk, respectfully, after 10 o'clock, of course. Bring warm stuff, blankets, and good vibes. And then in the morning on Saturday at 11, we are going down to Bank of America, downtown. Right? So, Saturday, yeah.
At 11.
So sleep over beforehand, get riled up, get that energy, down to Bank of America Saturday morning at 11, I believe.
All right. Question?
No, also one more announcement. Also on Saturday at 6 p.m. at 8th and Central, there's going to be a vigil against police violence. It's being organized by Cop Watch, I believe. I think this is something that we should attend in solidarity. No one likes getting shot by the police. It's Saturday at 6 at 8th and Central.
Yeah.
And please be aware of the actions that are on the boards. Our boards are getting some good information, so make sure to take the time to read them. Another announcement or question?
Announcement. I'd like to, if possible, get from people who have the information about different events that are going on, send an email to, and if you can copy this down, people who have information, WEB@abqpeaceandjustice.org. It's on the, that address is on the bottom of every single page on the Peace Center's website. And then I'll put it on the calendar for us. We have 3 pages on there just as a holding point until the official website gets going. But if I don't get information, I can't post it.
All right. Are there any other announcements?
I'm roadrunner a couple things. Anybody that wants to coordinate with me on grounds committee stuff, on reaching out to UNM's Environmental Services Director, when the sprinklers come on at night, we're putting buckets on them. We're messing up with the sprinkler. We're messing up with the zones. It's flooding over here. I think we'd show good responsibility and be good public relations if we coordinate with them and figure that out so they can water their zones. We're really stressing this turfway anyway. I also like to work with people, brooms and rakes, and really make this place look spiffy. Just talk to me afterwards, and I'd like to coordinate that. Good public
What about cross security on that part right there?
Okay.
Well, we have an agenda item for that, sir.
Yeah. All right. Now, thank you, everyone. I do have two further announcements. So first off, I was contacted by a spiritual leader in the community. I guess his name's Badabin. I don't know if anybody knows him, but I guess he does a lot of blessing for civic buildings and new groups that are going. He wanted to come at 11 o'clock on Sunday before our meeting, and he was going to do a blessing for this area.
Excellent.
I don't see any reason to oppose that. If everyone's okay with that, he'll be here on Sunday. Okay?
What is his affiliation?
He's a Native American who does blessing rituals for lands and opening lands. So I wasn't the one who contacted him. He found me at the teach-in. But if there's no issues with that, I think we'll embrace them. Also, we have a state senator here, and he wanted to take a minute or two of our time. I wanted to propose, we've got a lot on the agenda. I kind of wanted to hear if anybody has any proposal for when we should fit that in. If that should go now, I stand aside on this issue.
No.
All right, great. Then
I would almost suggest the dude needs to stay until the end and listen to everything and then talk.
okay, we have a counter proposal.
Can we come to a consensus?
Sorry.
Is that a stand aside or a block?
That's another suggestion. I'm sorry, I'm being
we have
very
another
confrontational now.
Okay, so quick straw poll. We have two proposals on the table. The first proposal is to allow the state senator to speak now. And this is really just a matter of facilitating discussion. This is nothing personal, remember, when we do things like this, all right? The second proposal is to allow the agenda to proceed and to put him at the end of the agenda just so that he gains the experience of being here and interacting with our community. If you're for having him speak now, I'd like to see a show of hands. Remember, this isn't a vote, this is a straw poll.
Can we ask a question first? What your time availability is?
Sure.
Can you join us for a meeting?
I can be as brief as you want. Want to let you know I'm happy to come back and listen to the whole meeting. But I actually have my own town hall tonight, which hopefully you guys would respect. It's at 7 o'clock, and I'm happy to stay here right up until about...
The proposal is withdrawn, so I guess we'll have him speak right now.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you. And I'll be brief. And I just want to share, I really respect the motion that you made, and if I did not have what I think is a really good excuse, I would have been happy to stay, and I hope to be back. So, really briefly, my name is Tim Keller. I am the state senator from everywhere east of San Mateo. We like to call it the International District. It's part of a community organizing movement up there. You might know it by its old name, the War Zone. Do us a favor, that's derogatory, a lot of people, it's racist. Please use International District. We love our diversity. So I just wanted to come down here today, and I will be back, you'll see me, because I do want to learn more. I've been following you guys actually on social media. I'm the youngest legislator up there, period, if you can't tell by looking. Thanks for that. So it's not always easy, I take a lot of flack. But I want to share, I guess, really just two things. One is on my background. I was born and raised here in Albuquerque, and I went away for 10 years and kind of saw the world, discovered myself. I did Peace Corps type stuff in Cambodia, in Latin America, and I also worked on Wall Street. So I have seen the inside. I know exactly how this stuff works. And what I want to share with you today is maybe just something about the 99%. And I feel that this has been going on, as I know many of you do, and you all know this probably better than I do. But the rules of the game for decades have been changed in favor of one group or another. And I ask you to think of an analogy like a soccer field. So on one end of the field, you have a nice normal box with a goal. And on the other end, the field goes in and there's not as much field, so it's really easy to score. And that's what I think is happening structurally in our society. We're making two sets of rules. There's a rule for folks who are fortunate enough to be born into middle-class family and above, maybe to have parents who can help them with education, and maybe to have health care. They grew up in a neighborhood with trees. They grew up in a neighborhood with low crime. That is one path in America, and it's not the individual's fault who were born into that either way. But for them, it's not that hard to score. The American dream can be achieved and is pretty easy. And then there's the rest of us. And the challenge with us is every year it gets harder and harder to score that goal. And it's because healthcare is harder to get. Education, a good education, is harder and harder to get. And even the area where we live in, if you look at built environment, if you look at my community in the International District, we have no trees, we have no bike lanes, we have no built infrastructure with respect to walkways to bus stops and all the wonderful things, medians, that other areas of the community have. So for these reasons, there's a structural problem, and I think that that's what's driving part of the 99% challenge that we have. Because each time that one end of the goal gets narrower for the other group, while the rest of us have to still play a different game. And so I'm trying to dedicate what I do to fix those lines in the field, or those guidelines and the rules of the way the game is played. And I run hundreds of bills for any of you who know me up in Santa Fe, which I get made a lot of fun of for because I'm not a fan of the status quo. But I just wanted to share with you one final thought. Thank you for what you're doing. For years, we have seen folks come to the streets, primarily the Tea Party folks, and I think you have one wonderful thing in common, and that's grassroots democracy and self-organizing. And that's something that it's high time that folks, maybe on the more left end of the spectrum, get back involved in. You know, when we think about every major change in our country, whether it was slavery, whether it was abolishing segregation, whether it was women's equal rights, that all started from the ground up. And let me tell you this, politicians kill for good ideas. So the ideas actually come from the ground up. You will have more support than you need as soon as you can crystallize yourselves around some ideas that we can get behind. So I'll just share that I want to be back, I want to learn more. Unfortunately, I'll have to leave pretty soon, but I'll stick around as long as I can. Thank you for what you're doing. Continue exercising democracy. Let me know how I can help. And also, I love your process. I'll say one more thing about our government. No matter what you think about the way government functions and how broken it is, we actually still follow a process. And it has to do with all those annoying parliamentary regulations and all that. But those are in place to protect minority opinions. And so there is something that you guys have in common with senators, congressmen, state officials, and all that. And it's following and respecting the process above all. So keep it up, share your ideas. Thank you for letting me share a few thoughts, and I hope to see you again soon. And I can answer questions if you want. Yeah.
Yeah. Recently we had a proposal at City Council, which it didn't pass, but it was a resolution of at least support for what we're doing here. I'm wondering if you can do that for us on the legislature level, perhaps for the whole state.
Sure.
I mean,
what a wonderful idea, and I would be happy to. Yeah.
Thank you.
And it was a great job at the City Council, and I'm glad they did that. Now, just so you know, some of you might know a lot about the state and may not know about the state. We're only in legislature 30 days a year, so I can't do anything for you until January 20th. So just to let you know, there will be nothing to
Yeah. For us before January 20th, perhaps you can do the initial letter on an online petition to our legislators to allow this process to continue. Will you consider doing that?
Sure.
You'll do the first letter for an online petition? Great.
So yeah, I'll get mine easy to find on the internet. Just Google me or whatever,
Okay,
but
great.
email me what you would like specifically, and I'd be happy to work on it.
We would like your support for this process to continue, and then we'll send it to the legislature.
Sure.
Also had a question.
Well, I was also because we passed proposals here at our General Assembly. I understand some of them might be vague at various moments, but some of our proposals have concrete things that we need to put in place. I was wondering if we could forward those proposals to you as well to make sure to see what you could do to help us get these in place.
Sure. Please forward them.